So here Sutta Goswami is continuing to answer to the request of Shaunaka Rishi in continuation with the previous verse. So in the previous verse, Shaunaka Rishi requested Sutta Goswami to speak further about the activities of Lord Kapila. The word specifically used is Anukirtaya, which means you please speak based on what you have heard. Heard from whom? Heard from previous acharyas, who has heard from another realized person. So the question was very, very specific. Although even if he has unsaid about that, still Sutta Goswami would be specifically replying based on what he has heard, but yet Shaunaka Rishi very specifically is requesting to speak on the activities of personality of Godhead, Lord Kapila, based on what he has already heard. And Sutta Goswami had heard from Shaunaka Rishi. And Sutta Goswami is now speaking here based on what he has heard from Shukadeva Goswami. So Sutta Goswami is saying here, Dvaipayana sakasta evam Maitreya Bhagavam stata Prahedam Viduram Preta Anvikshikyam Prachodita. So he is saying here that Dvaipayana Sakha, Maitreya Rishi, is a friend of Vyasadeva, who is also known as Dvaipayana. And Maitreya Bhagavam Statha, he is addressing Maitreya Rishi as Bhagavan. Prabhupada in his purport he clarified that Maitreya is a Rishi, is a sage, is a powerful sage because of his complete perfection in the knowledge of absolute truth. And he is an authorized speaker, and hence he is also addressed as Bhagavan. So not only the Supreme Personality of Godhead is addressed as Bhagavan, sometimes great personalities like Maitreya Rishi is also addressed as Bhagavan, like we have seen. Narada Muni is also addressed sometimes as Bhagavan, or sometimes Brahma is also addressed as Bhagavan. That doesn't mean that they have become Supreme Personality of Godhead just because they have been addressed as Bhagavan. When great personalities like Maitreya Rishi or any other great personalities like Brahma or Narada or even Shiva, they are addressed as sometimes Bhagavan, it means they are great personalities who have that power, they are powerful because of being blessed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But they are not Godhead themselves. They are not Supreme Personality of Godhead themselves. Because Ekala Ishvara Krishna. There is only one Supreme Personality of Godhead. There is no second. So, and further, Sutta Goswami says, Prahedam Viduram Prita. Prahedam means he began to speak to Vidura after being pleased. Prahedam Prita. He got pleased from the behavior of Vidura by the questions asked by Vidura he is continuing to speak, Anvikshikam Prachoditaha. He is talking about the transcendental knowledge. The transcendental knowledge connected to personality of Lord Kapila, the activities and instructions of Lord Kapila. So that is what is a process that we can see here, that Vidura already, although he is a great personality himself, Vidura also is a great personality. He is also a pure devotee. But he is taking the role of a submissive inquirer. He is known as Mahatma. Vidura is also known as Mahatma. Mahatma means one who takes shelter of the internal potency of the Lord. But Vidura is also inquisitive to know further about that personality of Godhead under whom he has taken his shelter. And how did he inquire? He inquires with the mood of humility, with the mood of submissive behavior. So that's what we see here, which is very much important, that when the speaker, he also should be authorized to speak, and the person who is asking questions, he also should be a qualified person. And when both are qualified, the speaker and the hearer, then the result will be very fruitful. The answers that may come upon such inquiries will be very beneficial, not only to the person who is listening, but also the person or everyone in the creation, for all of us, for that matter. So, just like Prabhupada gives an analogy, example, just like if the husband, if he is potent enough, and the wife, if she is also potent enough, then when they unite, then there will be a proper child. So similarly, if the listener and the speaker, if they are bona fide, if they are authorized, qualified, then the result will be very beneficial. And all this is through the process of questions and answers. So the questions and answers is a very common thing that we see in this world. It's a very fundamental thing that we see. Everyone is filled with a lot of questions and answers. People have a lot of things to ask in this world. Not only just human beings, even animals are also very much inquisitive. They have a lot of questions to ask. We may not understand, but they have their own inquiries. But their inquiry is in terms of ahara, bhaya, nidra, maituna. So their inquiries are based on the four economic activities of ahara, bhaya, nidra, maituna, eating, sleeping, and mating and defending. And human beings are also filled with a lot of questions. Right from the beginning of the day till the end of the day, they have so many questions. Questions related to existence, to questions related to politics, questions related to loka, what is happening in this world. We are all very curious to know. That's why we are very eager to read the newspapers. So now no more newspapers are so much important. Now we have news apps. We can see in the mobile whenever we want. So very quickly accessible. So that even more intensifies our inquisitive to know what is happening in this world. So being inquisitive or tendency to ask questions is nothing new. Prabhupada uses his own son's example to explain how inquisitiveness is something very, very, very inherent. When Prabhupada and his son was moving across the city, so there passes by a marriage party. So naturally a child is very inquisitive to know. They have a lot of questions. They simply keep asking so many questions. Sometimes the parents are tired to answer. So that is the degree of being inquisitive for a child. So Prabhupada's child was asking so many questions about the marriage. Who is that? Who is that? Who is one? Who is the person who is being carried on the palanquin? Who is the person in that special attire? What is being done? So many questions related to marriage. So Prabhupada everything explained nicely. So after explaining, the child asked Prabhupada, Prabhupada, are you married? So that is the kind of inquisitiveness of a child. So we also have the similar inquisitiveness to ask questions, and we seek for answers to our questions. We search for answers to our questions through various sources. And after going through all this process, we are still not satisfied. We are still discouraged. We still feel that something is not perfect. Something is missing in our process of questioning and getting the answers for those questions. Bhagavatam says that any questions and answers which are not directed towards Krishna or those activities connected to Krishna would not give the ultimate satisfaction. Just like, for example, Vyasadeva himself was not satisfied by his literary work. He was dissatisfied by giving so many Vedic literatures, but he had not given any literatures which describes the glories of Lord Krishna. And that's how, on the instructions of Narada Muni, he compiled Srimad Bhagavatam, which gives ultimate satisfaction to all the questions and answers that we seek for. So, only when we take to the process of knowing the answers to our questions through Bhagavatam, then only one can get the perfect satisfaction. One can get perfect answers. So there has to be a perfect questions, and for the perfect questions there are perfect answers in the Vedic literature, specifically Srimad Bhagavatam. And next thing is to know that when we have perfect question, when we have relevant question, those questions has to be placed to a relevant person, to a qualified person. We cannot ask questions related to spiritual life or related to transcendental knowledge to anyone and everyone. One has to follow a right process. Prabhupada gives an example. If suppose I have a microphone or a dictaphone, and if it gets repaired, because Prabhupada extensively uses the microphone, the dictaphone, the typewriters for his work. So if suppose Prabhupada says if the typewriter or the microphone is malfunctioning, so then it has to be repaired. So I cannot approach a person who is selling pan and bidi. A person who is selling pan and bidi, he will not know the process of how to rectify the dictaphone or the typewriter. So I need to approach a person who knows the machine. I need to approach a person who knows the machine, who can rectify it easily. So similarly, to know the transcendental subject matter or questions related to absolute truth, one has to approach the right person, to the qualified person. So in various sources, the Vedic literatures, there are various references on this subject matter, whom to approach when we have to put forth relevant questions. There are various Vedic references, we'll try to understand that. The Mundaka Upanishad says, Tad Vijnanartam Sagurum Eva Bhigachet. Tad Vijnanartam. Vijnana means transcendental knowledge, realized knowledge. not theoretical knowledge, not mundane knowledge. Transcendental knowledge related to what is God, what is soul, and realizing that subject matter related to absolute truth is called Vijnana. Not the mundane knowledge, the knowledge related to body. The medical practitioners are very much expert in the knowledge of the body, but they will not know anything about the body, anything about the soul, which keeps the body live or animated. Tadvijnanatam sa gurum eva abhigachet. So if someone wants to understand the transcendental realized knowledge, Vijnana, sa gurum eva abhigachet. The only remedy, only option is sa evam. Evam means there is only one option, there is no second option. One has to approach a guru. Guru means a person who is filled with transcendental knowledge. One who is heavy with knowledge, heavy with transcendental knowledge, not with mundane knowledge. And how he is realized, he is self-realized, Vijnanartham, he is self-realized. How is he self-realized? Did he become self-realized by the process of jnana, through the process of mental speculation, or through the process of meditation, or through the process of performing austerities? No. Samit panihi Shrotriyam. Shrotriyam means one who has heard from the disciplic succession. One who has heard from the another self-realized person. So that is a process. We are also hearing from the disciplic succession. So whatever we are hearing or listening or understanding, we are understanding it through the realized process, through a self-realized person, through a disciplic succession. So that doesn't mean that we are authorized to impart a realized knowledge like a guru. No. So not merely hearing from self-realized soul is required. Samitpani Brahmanishtam, Samitpani Shrotriyam Brahmanishtam. He has to have heard from the realized person from a disciplic succession, and he should also be Brahmanishtam. He is fixed up. He will never fall down. He will never slacken down. Brahmanishtam. He is fixed up in the absolute truth. He is thorough in his understanding about the science of soul and super soul and the position of the absolute truth. So if someone has heard from the transcendental process, through the process of disciplic succession, alone is not sufficient. He should also be Brahmanishtam. Samitpanihi Shrotriyam Brahmanishtam. So that is the important qualification. And further, Srimad Bhagavad Gita also refers on how to obtain, what is the process of obtaining the transcendental knowledge. Anyone can refer, give the reference. Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te gnanam gnaninas tattvadarshina upadekshanti te gnanam. Prabhupada explains that to get to receive the spiritual knowledge, one has to first of all surrender. The three things are very much important. Pranipatena, to surrender. Pariprashnena, to seek questions. And third thing is sevaya, to render service. Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. All the three things are very much important. And one has to surrender to whom? If someone surrenders to a wrong person, then he will land in a havoc. There will be a spiritual havoc in his life. Sometime back when I was traveling, I was talking to my co-passenger, and when I start explaining about the spiritual subject matter, so he explained that how he lost faith in all the process of spiritual life because he was follower of some XYZ Swami, very very powerful, so to say, because people understand he believe that he is powerful, and he's very very famous, especially in North India and in Gujarat also, having his ashrams everywhere. But one fine day, suddenly they see that he's been arrested for some mischief, for a very, very serious offense. And he's still behind the bar and he's still not out. And his followers are left for high and dry. So this person was a great follower of that XYZ Swami, and he was saying that he has lost his faith on all the process. So if someone surrenders to a wrong person, then there will be a spiritual devastation in his life. So it is very much important that we surrender to a right person. And who is that right person? Shastra says, Scripture says, Samitpanihi Shrotriyam Brahmanishtam. He should be fixed up in absolute truth. His activities and his conduct will be based on this understanding. His speech will be based on his understanding about absolute truth, which is realized. And when he gives the knowledge, it will be Tattvadarshinaha, Upadekshanti te gnanam. So that is surrender. So pranipatena, then pariprashnena, one has to ask questions. And the purpose of asking question should be very much important. The purpose of asking question should not be just merely to seek some information. Like sometimes when we meet people, they simply ask questions for the sake of knowing, for the sake of some information, for getting some information. Purpose of asking question should not be simply for to become acquainted with some understanding. No. Just for seeking information, one should not ask questions. Nor one should ask question to become a scholar. One should not read books similarly to become a scholar. I read so nicely, I'll be able to speak nicely. No. So purpose of asking question should not to become a scholar. Nor purpose of asking question should be to become a guru. Right? Many years back, one senior devotee was sharing that how, while being in Bangalore, one XYZ person, future to be a so-called guru, he was regularly visiting our temple and seeking a lot of questions, putting for a lot of questions with that Vaishnava. And the devotee Vaishnava was so much inspired that he is asking so much questions, and he was explaining many things. And one fine day suddenly he is invisible, and all of a sudden, so we note that Vaishnava notes that he has become a big Swamiji. He has become a great, so to say, a saintly man. So it's a surprise. This person was coming to us asking so much questions relating to Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. And today he has become a great Swami, and he is not preaching Bhagavad Gita. He is not preaching about Krishna. He is not preaching about absolute truth as it is. He is having his own understanding. He is having his own theory. And only God will understand his jugglery. He is known for his using a lot of jugglery words, beating around the bush. And today he is also absconding because there is a lookout notice on him. And he has gone away, and he is having his own place of life, his own desha, his own country. He has declared his own country. So one cannot ask question. One should not ask question like that to become a guru. One should not ask question to become a scholar. The purpose of asking question should be for knowing the Atma Tattva, to know about the absolute truth, to know about the science of the soul. Srila Prabhupada, when he met his spiritual master, his question was, how to serve you? So our questions to our spiritual master should be with respect to service, with respect to inquiry related to how to serve you. So Prabhupada wrote a letter to his spiritual master. We know that when he was a grihastha, during his grihastha days, he wrote a letter asking his spiritual master, Bhaktivedanta Saraswati, that you have so many devotees, you have so many disciples who are of sannyasi cadre, some are of brahmachari. They are always with you, surrounding you, and they are serving you. But I am a grihastha, I am not able to associate with you. So please tell me what way I can serve you. So that is the relevant question. So one has to ask questions related to service and one has to serve him. So questions should be preceded by surrender and followed by service. If that is there, one will understand all that which spiritual master wants to impart upon us. Even though we may not understand the subject matter, sometimes we may not understand what the instructions are given, the subject matter related to topics of the instructions of Vedic literature. Sometimes it may be little ambiguous or little not comprehensible for that matter. Or sometimes it may be contradictory also, apparently, because of our lack of understanding. But if we have taken up with the process of serving the spiritual master sincerely, then gradually knowledge will get realized to us. Just like Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakura, when someone approached him, when politician approached him with a question, Bhaktivedanta Saraswati asked him to go and do service along with his disciples who are just nearby washing pots. Bhaktivedanta Saraswati, instead of answering him, he told him, you go and wash the pots along with my disciples. So he did that. And he came back and said that, I can understand now what you wanted to convey to me. So that is the process. And Srimad Bhagavatam also says the process of receiving the knowledge. Jignasu Shayamuttamam. Tasmad Gurum Prapadyeta Jignasu Shayamuttamam. Tasmad Guru Prapadyeta. One has to surrender to spiritual master. And after surrendering, what one has to do? Jignasu Shayamuttamam. One has to inquire. And the inquiry has to be Uttama, connected to what is highest beneficial to himself and for all of us and for everyone. Jignasu Shayamuttamam. There are two kinds of inquiry. Can be basically two kinds. It can be of Shreya and it can be prayer. Shreya means that which is ultimate beneficial to everyone. Uttama, Udgatatama means Udgatatama. Uttama means that which elevates ourselves from illusion, that which elevates ourselves from ignorance. Udgatatama iti Uttama. And there can be questions which can be of immediate, which can be of prayer, which can be of immediate benefit. So, Shreya means that which is immediately beneficial. Prayer means that which is Shreya means that which is ultimately beneficial, and prayer means that which is immediately beneficial. So questions which are connected to Krishna and answers which come upon from a realized person is considered as Uttama Jigyasa, is the highest inquiry. And people who are materially motivated, One who is not interested in absolute truth, one who is only interested in fruitive activities or material benefits, their inquiry will be not highly appreciated. Their inquiries are not of Udgatatamaha. Their inquiries are not Uttama inquiry. Just like a child is very much interested in playing and not interested in going to school. You give a child an opportunity to play, it is very much interested to play entire day. Whole day it will be playing and has no interest to school. When you send him to school, he will cry. The child will cry. So, but the parents, they know what is ultimate beneficial for the child. So the child, when it goes to the school, it takes education, it makes himself refined with knowledge and experience, and can bring a fortune to himself. So that's how one has to approach a spiritual master for one's ultimate benefit. And the process is that one has to approach a spiritual master who is fully realized the absolute truth and who is Brahmanishtam and who is completely situated in that understanding, firmly situated in that understanding. In Chaitanya Charitamrita also, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, while explaining the science of devotional service to Sanatana Goswami, he explains about the process of devotional service. He explains through a parable. Parable is a kind of story which is having an instruction, which is instructive, which conveys some important message, or it gives an instructions through a story. So, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu narrates this story wherein there was, once upon a time, there was a poor man who was poverty stricken, materially poverty stricken. And he did not have any wealth for his living. He was completely in a miserable state. And he was a son of a very rich person. It's not that he was a born poor, but he was a son of a very rich person, very wealthiest person. But somehow, because of some situation, he has become poverty stricken and he is living in a miserable state of life. So while he was in this kind of situation, an astrologer approaches him. And astrologer knows that he is the son of a very, very rich person and his father has left behind a big treasure for him. So when the astrologer meets this poor man, and astrologer informs him that actually you are not a poor man. You are a son of a very, very rich man and a very wealthy man. And he has left behind a great treasure for you. So, moment when someone hears this information, the poor man will become very, very much satisfied. Oh, I am a son of a very rich man and I have a treasure to seek. So he becomes very much happy. So, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Srila Prabhupada narrates this parable saying that this astrologer is like the Vedic literature. By approaching the Vedic literature, one will know about one's own position. That who is he? Who am I? What is my position? Sanatana Goswami, when he approached Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he asks this question to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Who am I? Why am I suffering here? What is my ultimate benefit? How can I connect with the Supreme Lord? So this was Sanatana Goswami's question when he approached Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explains with this parable, an interesting parable. And this Vedic literature is compared, astrologer is compared to a Vedic literature, because the Vedic literature is filled with knowledge of the jiva, the soul, its position and its relationship with the Supreme Lord. And as soon as we hear about our position in the Vedic literature, we become happy, we become glad, because we came to know about our original position. But Prabhupada says, mere knowing about our position alone is not sufficient. Just like the poor man, mere knowing that he is a son of a rich man and he has a lot of treasure to gather is alone not sufficient, although immediately it gives him a relief, it gives him happiness. But mere that knowledge is not sufficient. He has to actually go and seek, he has to go and find out where is that wealth, right? So the astrologer gives him further information how to get that, how to retrieve that wealth which is left behind for him by his rich father. So the astrologer says him, because generally the treasure is generally hidden in the earth, and one has to dig from the earth and retrieve the treasure. So the astrologer informs the poor man that if you dig the earth from the southern region, south is Dakshina Kshetra. If you dig the earth from southern side, then there will be lots of wasps and drones, or the insects which are guarding the treasure. And if you dig from the southern side, they will come and bite you. Insects generally bite, right? So we are afraid of insects. Even a small insect which is flying around us, we are very careful. So if the astrologer informed the poor man, if you go and dig from the southern region, you will be bitten by the wasps and the drones and other poisonous insects which are guarding the treasure from the south side. If you go and dig from the western side, there are ghosts and goblins which are guarding the treasure from the western side. And ghosts and goblins, they generally hallucinate others and try to capture the human being. So that is also not a desirable process. So further astrologer says, if you go and dig from the northern direction of the earth, the northern direction is protected by poisonous snakes. So the poisonous snakes, if you approach to dig the wealth from the northern side, then the poisonous snake will bite and you will be killed. So finally, astrologer says, if you should approach for the wealth from the eastern side, if you approach from the eastern side, then you will get the treasure. So Prabhupada says that, explaining this analogies, this parable, so if one approaches the wealth through any other process other than the eastern process, from the eastern direction, he will be deviated, he will be killed. Similarly, if we want to approach the Supreme Personality of Godhead, we have to take to the right process, just like to get the treasure for the poor man, it is recommended he has to approach the eastern direction. If someone approaches the southern side, which is compared to the treasure being guarded by wasps and the drones, are compared to the Karma Kanda process. If someone approaches Krishna through Karma Kanda process, then he will be lost in the process of Karma Kanda, which is enjoying the fruitive results. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explains specifically the south, the southern side is also known as Dakshina. Dakshina means giving, also means giving charity to the Brahmanas or the priests. When there is a fire sacrifice organized, charity is given to the saintly people. Charities are given to the priests, to the Brahmanas. For what intent? For what purpose? the sacrificial activities are conducted for the sake of some material benefit. With the hope of material benefit, the fire sacrifice or any sacrificial process is undertaken, and charity is given to the saintly people, to the priests, to the brahmanas, with the aim of enjoying fruitive results. And the aim, because of enjoying the fruitive results, one will get stuck up to the process of action and reaction, because of which one has to take birth here again, and because of taking birth here, one has to continue the process of birth, death, old age, and disease. So, by this process, the suffering of the living entity continues. Just like the poor man is suffering with the material poverty, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says the living entity will be suffering from the spiritual poverty in this creation. So, if someone approaches the western side, which is compared to the process of Jnana Yoga. So, the ghosts and goblins are compared to the Jnana Yoga. Jnana Yoga means just like one will get hallucinated by the ghost and goblin, one will get lost by the mental speculation. Jnana means the scholarly process, trying to become scholarly of the Vedic knowledge, trying to understand the absolute truth through the process of mental speculation. Someone who takes up to this process, he will get illusion, he will get fascinated, he will get deviated from reaching to the ultimate goal of understanding the absolute truth. So, not to the process of Jnana Marga or Jnana Yoga, one will not able to understand the absolute truth. And next, the northern process is considered to be the most dangerous process, which is compared to a snake, and which is compared to a impersonal yoga system or the mystic yoga, which takes the process of impersonal style of understanding the God. In the impersonal process, the impersonalists understand the absolute truth as something which is void, as something which has no form, as something everyone is God. Everyone is God. You are God, I am God, everyone is God. Because of some reasons, they have come to the material world and accepted this material body. Moment we are freed from this body, we become Brahman. We become merged with the absolute truth. This is the understanding of impersonalist. And this is considered as one of the most precarious situation. This is considered as the last snare of Maya. Just like how one will get bitten by the snake and he will be killed, if someone is bitten by the thoughts of or the understanding of the impersonalism, understanding of the absolute truth, then he will be deviated from the process. And the final process and the final direction, the eastern direction, is compared to the process of taking to the process of devotional service, to the process of Krishna consciousness. If someone takes it to the process of devotional service, the Bhakti Yoga system, the Bhakti Marga, one will be able to understand the absolute truth. So that is what is being recommended. Someone may know what is Krishna, someone may know who is Krishna, someone may know how to about his position, someone may know, but if it doesn't know how to approach him, the process of how to approaching him, then he will be deviated. If someone doesn't take up to the process of devotional service, then he will be deviated by other three processes: the process of karma kanda, the process of jnana kanda, or the process of impersonal yoga system. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu summarizes by explaining these processes. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu summarizes in Chaitanya Charitamrita that how devotional process is the highest process. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu summarizes instructing to Sanatana Goswami by quoting what Krishna quoted to Uddhava. See, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also is quoting what Krishna has said. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself. Just like here, we are seeing, Sutta Goswami is referring to the conversation of Maitreya Rishi and Vidura. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is quoting what Krishna said to Uddhava. So here, Krishna says to Uddhava, Na sadhyati mam yoga, na sankyam dharma Uddhava. Na sadhyati means one cannot achieve. How? Through the yoga process. One cannot attain Krishna. Na sadhyati mam. One cannot attain me through the process of mystic yoga process. Na sankyam dharma Uddhava. Nor one can attain me through the process of philosophical process, through the mental speculation process. Na swadhyayas tapastyavo. Krishna says further, even I cannot be achieved through the process of austerities, through the process of charity, or through the process of accepting sannyasa. Yatha bhaktir mamo rijitaha. I can be understood, I can be approached only through the unallied devotional service. Further, Krishna says, Bhaktya aham ekaya grahya. Bhaktya aham ekaya grahya. It is only through bhakti. Aham ekaya grahya. That devotional service which is unflinching in faith. Shraddhayatma priya satam. Bhakti punati man nishtaha swapakan api sambhavat. Krishna says the bhakti yoga system which gradually increases one's attachment to Krishna, Shraddhayatma, which is performed out of unflinching faith and which even purifies swapakan sambhava, which purifies even a human being who is born among the dog eaters. So that is the power of the devotional service. Further, in conclusion, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Ata eva bhakti Krishna praptera upaya. Abhideya bali tarya sarva shastra gaya. So, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, the conclusion is that devotional service is the only means of approaching the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There is no other process. And this system is therefore called Abhideya. This is the verdict of all revealed scriptures. Tare sarva shastra gaya. That is the verdict of all the Vedic literatures. What is the verdict? That Ata eva bhakti Krishna praptera. Only by the process of bhakti one can attain Krishna. And this process is called Abhideya. So Abhideya means the process by which we can achieve Krishna. Sambandha means to know the Krishna, to know who is Krishna. Just like the astrologer came and told that you are the son of a rich person. Vedic literature gives that understanding that actually you are, who are you? What is your position? That is Sambandha Gnana. And further, Vedic literature also mentions the process of taking up devotional service. It's called Abhideya. And the Prayojana means the result of taking to the process of devotional service. And what is the result of taking to the process of devotional service? Krishna Prema. And the process of taking up devotional service is Krishna Prema. That is the end result for which actually we are all working, for which we have all taken to the process of devotional service. So, through the process of devotional service, we can understand who is Krishna, we can understand who we are, we can take to the process of, we will attain Krishna Bhakti, and in the process of attaining Krishna Bhakti, we will be benefited by, we will be bestowed with Krishna Prema. So that is the benefit of any inquiry. All our inquiries, all our questions and answers that we are trying to pose, they should be always directed towards this Krishna Bhakti. Should be directed towards understanding these subject matters. And when the questions and answers, when they are concerned to these subject matters, then they are beneficial to everyone. Beneficial to the person who is making an inquiry, and it also beneficial to the person who is speaking. It will be beneficial to everyone who is hearing. So that's what we understand here, that how Vidura is putting forth questions connected to absolute truth, and he is putting these questions with great humility. With great humility. Although he is a Mahatma, he is understood all the Vedic literatures, but yet he is posing himself as a humble questioner. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Guru Mora Dheka, Guru Murka Mora Dheka. My spiritual master, seeing me as a fool, instructed me. So it is said that one should approach the spiritual master not like as if he is knowing everything. He should submit to his spiritual master as a fool. So that is how we see. Moment if we get some knowledge, we try to come to an understanding. We know everything. If someone instructs, in the back of the mind, sometimes we may have an understanding that I know everything. So that kind of situation is not a favorable situation to advance in devotional studies. That will stop him to put any further inquiries. But if someone puts himself in a state of humility, just like how Mahatma Vidura is presenting himself as a person, although he is knowing, he is a Mahatma, he knows about the subject matter with Krishna, he lived with Krishna, he has seen Krishna personally, he has known his activities, yet in spite of that, when he is approaching Maitreya, he is humbly presenting himself as if he is not knowing anything. So that's what we understand here, that the questions and answers should be relevant, and then the answers also will be relevant answers when they are placed before the right personality. And here we can understand the process through which we can get answers to our relevant questions. Right? We'll stop here. Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki.